Hello students, welcome back to the C programming lecture series. I'm Kirti Sharma, working as an assistant professor in St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management, Gurugram. Today in this lecture series of C programming, we will discuss the recursion in the C as we left this topic in the last lecture. So we will continue with the same. Next we will discuss the formatted input output, and regarding the unformatted input output we will discuss it later. I have mentioned it here for the purpose of like to make you aware about it, like formatted input output and unformatted input output. Two types of functions are input output functions are available, right? So we will discuss the unformatted input output in the next lecture. So in this lecture we will discuss recursion and formatted input output. So with the recursion we will also discuss the iteration concept. Okay, so to give you the clarity about the difference between the iteration and recursion, there is the both are the different things. Most of the time you will students will get confused in between two terms, so here it will be clear to all in this lecture. Okay, so let's start with the recursion. So in the C programming allows a function to call itself within its code. That is like circular definition. It is having its circular definition. That means definition of the function possesses a function call to itself. A function is calling itself. That is known as recursion, right? If you have defined a function, and that function in itself, in the body of that function, like f is a function, in the body of f, function is calling itself again, right? That means function is calling within the function, so that means it is known as recursion. Okay, so this repetition may be any number of times, so circular definition it has. So the set of local variables and parameters, some special things are there about the recursion here. What it is, local variables are the variables which are defined in between the curly braces of the function, right? So local variables and the parameters used by the function are newly created each time if you are recursively calling a function within a function, then the definition of this functionality like update local variables values, parameter values will update. It will not remain same. That is a specialty of the recursion. That's why repeatedly use by using the list like again and again, it will make our task easier. So top of the stack will update it. So value of the local variables and parameters again and again updated by the top of the stack. Okay, so like it will not create the a new copy of the function. It will update the same function copy. So in the same function, whatever is a variable used in use, parameter in use, it will update the same memory space. Okay, so it's the main feature of the recursion. So basically recursion does not significantly reduce the size of the code. It make the point of here recursion function. If you are using the function recursively, that doesn't mean you are reducing the size of the code. It does not even improve the memory utilization. It again use the memory again and again as the simple functionality. So it never reduce the size of the code. It not improve the memory utilization. But what it do, it does some when compared to the iteration. Like if you will compare it recursion with the iteration, it do something better, right? So terminate the recursion, you must include a select statement in the definition, on the basis of which you can return without giving the recursive call to itself. So the absence of the select statement, recursively call will be there, so it may possible it will go into the infinite times. Okay, so once you are calling the recursive statement, it will repeat itself infinity. So there must be a select statement in the definition in order to terminate the recursion. Okay, so next what about the here is an example to understand the recursion. Here example is showing the right, we have written an example in order to find the factorial of a number. So we have taken a function, int data type function, name of the function is factorial, parameter passed here. What kind of parameter these are? These are formal parameters, because we are giving this during the declaration part. Okay, so num is a parameter here. So int, we are declaring the answer here. Answer is a local variable, so answer is a local variable here. Okay, because within the body of the function it's having its scope, outside the body no one knows the answer. What is answer? Okay, so if you are using a comparable statement here, num is equals to 1. If it is 1, it will return 1. Otherwise, it will return the same factorial function by doing the decrement in the parameter and applying this functionality. So here what we are doing, we are recursively calling this particular function. Function is calling within the function. So factorial is a function and we are again calling the factorial within the factorial function. That is called recursive calling, right? So in answer, whatever we are getting from as an output from here, after calculating this function, then we will multiply it by num, whatever is the value of the num over here in this function. Okay, and at last there is a selective statement or terminating statement here, return answer. So you have to return the answer here at last as an output of the algorithm. Okay, so in this particular code, else part shows the recursion only. This else part shows the recursion, and it is the this if part is showing the terminating condition here, right? So it's an example for the recursive call. Next, it is a representation like how it is working recursive call. I have already told you what is here in the else part, answer equals to factorial num minus 1 multiplied by num. Here it is written like whatever is returned first time, if I am giving the value of num as 5, right? So 5 value it will return at the very first time. If you will compare, is 5 equals to 1? No, it will come here. So what it will be there? Factorial num value is 5. 5 minus 1, 4. So factorial 4 will come over here, right? Factorial 4 will come over here, multiply by num value is 5 at that particular time, right? So whatever that is written over here, 5 multiplied by factorial 4, right? So to give the answer of this thing, we have just need to solve this factorial 4. In order to solve the factorial 4, what it will give? The value of factorial 4 it will give, and it will do the decrement here. For the next time, what will be the value? 4 minus 1, 3. And what is the num value? 4. So that is written over here. 4 is the value, num value, and 3 is the parameter that we will pass. Again, we will do the same. In order to calculate the value of this particular expression, there is a need to calculate the factorial 3. In order to calculate the factorial 3, it will return the num value as 3 and it will do the decrement in num and it will pass num minus 1, 2 here, right? Again, in order to find the output of this expression, there is a need to calculate the factorial 2 value. So num value is become 2 here, and num minus 1 become 2 minus 1, 1 will be there. In order to find this complete expression output, there is a need to calculate this factorial 1. Now what is the value of num? 1 is there. So num value is 1. Again, what will be there? Num minus 1, 0 will be there. If it will compare it with the value, then it will return as a 1. If it is becomes equals to 0, then it will return 1 as the selective statement, like termination is there as per the algorithm. So what is there? 1 into 1, 1 is there, right? Now we are getting the answer of this expression. Now it will be there. So what is the factorial 1 value? Factorial 1 value will return 1. So 2 into 1, 2 is there. Now it will return the value as a factorial 2 value. So what is the factorial 2 answer? 2. So 3 is there. 3 into 2, 6 will be there. For this expression, answer will be 6. Now this 6 will return as a factorial 3 answer. So factorial 3 answer is 6 now. 4 into 6 is 24. Now this expression value is 24. Now it will be the input for this factorial. Like what is the factorial 4 value? It will return 24. Now 5 into 24 will be 120. So it is the final answer. So it will return the factorial of 5 as 120. So we have calculated successfully the factorial of 5 as 120. So this is all about recursion method. Again and again you are calling a function within a function. That is recursion itself. I hope it is clear to all. We have taken the example to get the better clarity about the recursion. Next we have difference between the recursion and iteration. What is the like both are not the same thing. You're iterating the statements, it's different. You're using a function recursively, it's different. What is the basic difference actually? It's important to distinguish recursion and iteration here. Basic difference is, if you're calling a function within a function itself, if a function is calling itself within that function is called a recursion. But what is iteration? It's a set of instruction to repeat repeatedly executed. There is no any function calling there, right? Statements you are repeating, and you can repeat those statements anywhere, right? So what is the format for the recursion? Recursion only terminate condition can only termination condition is specified there in the recursion function. But in the iteration includes initialization condition, execution statements within the loop only, and update it by the increment and decrement control variables. So within the loop, if you're writing the number of statements and those statements are repeatedly like repeating it themselves with the help of loop statements like update operations or control variables, increment, decrement, then those statements are called as iteration, right? And recursion is something different. A function is calling itself again and again and terminating the condition specifying the termination condition. What about the termination? A conditional statement is included in the body of the function to force the function to return without recursion call, right? So here repeatedly executed until the condition termination condition reached. Here like you can terminate the function by force itself, right? So condition can be doesn't coverage to some condition called base. It leads to the, it may possible it leads to the infinity recursion calls could be there. And here in the iteration also infinity can be possible, but it will terminate like control conditions with in iteration never becomes false, then it will become the terminate condition. Here if it is not mentioned, then it will go into the infinite. So infinite repetition can be like their infinite recursion can crash the system. Here infinity loops use the CPU cycle repeatedly, so again and again it will use the CPU and it will hang the uh, functionality whatever is going on. But here it may cause the crash of the system if a function is calling infinitely. Okay, so it is more dangerous to execute rather than this one. So applied difference is recursion is always applied to the function, and iteration depends on the like applied to the statements and on the loops with the help of loops. So stack, here is each and every time local variable value is updated in the top of the stack doesn't work here. Like there is no any use of the stack here in the iteration. And the overhead, speed and size of the code are the special features are there in order to distinguish both of them. So these are the important functionalities of the recursion and iteration on the basis of which you can distinguish them. Okay, so make it clear recursion and iteration both are the different things. I've shown here the comparative study of them. Okay, so next whatever is there like iteration, I hope it is clear to you. Set of instruction, if you are repeatedly calling the set of instruction with the help of loops, then it is iteration. So you can use the iteration with the help of for loop, while loop, do while loop. Whenever the condition whatever you have written in the loops gets false, then your termination it will be considered as your termination condition and you will come out of the execution. If you have mentioned wrongly the condition, if you have mentioned the condition wrongly, then your iteration will become fall into the infinite execution. Okay, so it will take the CPU time like cycle repeatedly. So overhead, CPU overhead will come here. So next we have some example same for the factorial example. If we are applying it with a simple for loop in order to finding the factorial, this is the iteration. We have taken same example to calculate, so for the both the things in order to see the scenario of the recursion also and for the iteration also. So both of things we have covered. So I hope this it should be clear to all of you now. Here we are finding the factorial of a number by using the for loop. That is iteration. And in the previous one we were calling the recursively call, we are applying to in order to find the factorial of a function. So I hope both things are clear. So recursion function is easy to write, but they do not perform as well as compared to the iteration. Whereas iteration is hard to write, but their performance is very good as compared to the recursion. It's very important point from competitive exam point of view also. Like recursion is easy to write, but when you will perform, it will become hard when we comparative to the iteration. But iteration is hard to write, but their performance is good. So it's up to the developer or programmer what he or she want to use in order to make the system efficiency better. So it's according to the need of the project itself. So it's a main point to note it down. Okay. So sometimes we have to return use the recursion, sometimes we have to use iteration. It depends on the situation actually. So memory allocation of the recursion is there is a like call of the new copy of the method in the memory. Once the data is returned by the method, the copy is removed from the memory, and all the variables and stuffs declared inside the function get stored into the stack. Then separate stack is maintained at each and every recursive call. That is the functionality how the memory allocation takes place in the recursive method. So it's important to notice here like how the memory allocation is takes place when you are calling a function. It's within itself again recursively. So complexity of the tracking the values at each recursive call becomes like it a little bit difficult. So if the corresponding function stack gets destroyed, so once the value is returned, the stack value gets destroyed and it will update with the upcoming ones. So it will it may possible the complexity of the system, like complexity in resolving the tracking the values at each and every recursive call will be there. So we need to maintain the stack and track the value of the variable defined in the stack. Then so there will not be any changes in the memory allocation. Everything will be handled by the stack itself. Okay, at the top of the stack it will updated. Okay. So next, this is an example here also. So what order memory will be allocated. So if you are taking here an function to display, n is the parameter. If n is equals to be like, this is a termination condition itself. In else we have the recursive call, right? So here what we have, like we have to print here n value itself, nothing else. Okay. So up to whenever we get the n value is 0, then we have to terminate. So here it is examined here. The memory blocks are there during if you are passing the n value as 4, right? So main function is there, n value 4 is there, right? So in order to calculate n value 4, we have the recursive function n minus 1. So it will show display n minus 1, it will become 3. Again to calculate it, we have to find the display n minus 2, 2. Again display n minus 1 is 1. Again display 0. So whenever you got this 0, it will get the terminating condition. Then what we have to return here, we have to return 0 here, right? So it will return 0 to 1. So it will be like here it will come 0. That means like same thing, returning if you are, in order to calculate 4, you have to find print, it will print 3, print 2, print 1, print 0, print, it will return 0. Now it will return 0 here. Now what is there, it is n value is 1 here. So it will again return 0, because this value print 0, like display 0 is returning 0, everything will return 0 0 0. But print will be there already printed here, like in when n value is 4, it will like 3, it was printing 3 2 1 0. Printing was in the ongoing process. When it is returning some value, it will return 0 at last, and at last it will return to the main 0 itself. Okay. So it's all about the memory processor, and this returning is always calling the stack value, and this was the printing processor step by step. So whenever you are coming back, you are using the top of the stack itself, not memory. So make the clarity about it. You are not using the memory space while returning the uh, function output by using the return, like return 0 and anything else you are returning. You are using the top of the stack over here. So there is a need to track the step in order to find the recursive function calls. It was all about the recursion and iteration. Next, we have the next topic, formatted and unformatted input output functions. So in this lecture, we will discuss the formatted input output function. In the next lecture, we will discuss unformatted input output function. So basically, what do you mean by like formatted and unformatted input output functions? C language provides us console input output functions, input output functions which are handled by, like used to handle the console screen. What is a console screen? Console screen is your output screen, the output screen on which you are able to see the output of the C program. That is known as console screen. So there are some functions that we really like to read the input from the keyboard by the user accessing the console, and next to display the output of the use, like to display something on the user at the console. So to display something and to take the input, we have some input output functions in order to handle these things. So those functions are known as formatted and unformatted. So firstly, what about the formatted input output function? There are formatted input output functions. It may possible you know all these functions very well, but here we are taking the examples in order to get the better clarity. So you can also display, by using the output function, you can display the multiple things on the output screen, and you can take the multiple inputs also. So it's not up to that thing like you can take only input for the single variable, or single variable you can show the output. No, multiples also possible. So scanf is used. Scanf is a function that is used to read, and in order to give the input at the console screen. You can give the input one input or multiple inputs. It's up to the need. So same for the printf. Printf is used to display for the output purpose. It can display one output or multiple values as an output, right, on the console screen. New two things are there that are something different, like scanf and sprintf. What about it? Scanf is used to read the characters from string and stores them in the variable. Like it will read the characters from a string and stores them in a variable. Scanf is used this function to read the characters. For the purpose of the string, we use the scanf and sprintf. Here S stands for the string purpose. If you are working specially on the string, then you have to use for the input scanf, and for the printf or to display our string characters sprintf. You can also use these things, but there are the special functionality that are available in the library scanf and sprintf. It's up to the user. If you want to use, then you can use. Okay. So either you can use the array to see the set of characters you can use as a string. So there are something different, like string. During the string function study, we will study these things also. So here library functions we are discussing. So these are the formatted input output functions. Okay. So why these functions are called formatted console input output? It should be in your the question. It can be the question that may comes in your mind. So while calling any of the formatted console input output function, we must use a function format specifier in them, which allow us to read or display any value of the specific primitive data type. So that's the reason that we need the formatted console input output in order to to use the specific format specifiers in them. Okay. So there is a need, that was a need, then why we have to use them formatted input output functions. So we have some formatted input out we have some format specifiers that we have already studied. Like these are the description here that you can use in the different programs during the practice of the programming different programs. So you can use them one by one with the description. It's very simple. If you know the data types, then you can use them as a practice task. There is a scanf and printf. So this is a formatted when to use scanf, when to use printf. When you are giving the input with the help of keyboard on the console screen, then you have to use the scanf, and in order to show the output on the console screen, you have to use the printf function. So this is an example to use the scanf and printf. So here we are taking some data types here, variables declaration. Then with the help of printf, we are printing some statements here. Slash n is the escape sequence here. We are printing some text as it is, and we are trying to take out the passing some input here with the help of format specifiers, and ampersand ch is here to keep the clarity about what we have to enter. So variable is there, and percent is showing the address at which place we have to enter the character data type input. So these are some values here that you have to, for which you have to use the printf and scanf functions. So we can use these scanf and printf functions. This is an example that you can do practice. So it's very simple, like different format specifiers we have used over here in order to print some output data, in order to take some input data. Okay. So it was all about the formatted input output functions. So in the next lecture, we will do continue with the unformatted input output functions. So stay tuned with this lecture series. Thank you. Have a nice day.